Welcome everyone to something a little bit different, something I did say in my first ever video I'd like to possibly do more of, but to cut right to the chase, I'm here with possibly my oldest friend in the world. I think I've known him since I was 7 years old.
Something like that.
Yeah, 7 years old. And this isn't going to be too formal, but we're just here to talk about Dan Ganado, musician, guitar aficionado, part of the band Alien Grace. They've come all the way from Berlin to grace Maltese stages. Let's just get straight to it. So, Dan, tell us about yourself.
Wow, that was actually that question is difficult, and it's the first thing I was ever asked by my mentor at when I was studying guitar in Berlin. At the first ever lesson with my teacher, Knox, one of my teachers, a great teacher, he asked me, "Who are you?" And I replied with Dan, and he was like, "Who's Dan?" And then I was just like, existential crisis. So that's thank you for inflicting that upon me again. But yeah, I'll tell you about what I do. I'm a guitar player. I produce music. I create music. I write songs, make weird sounds. And try to just, capture a vibe through music.
Brilliant. And you're obviously here with Alien Grace at the moment. So actually, I obviously met Alien Grace because I've come to visit you a couple of times. I do consider them friends of mine as well. But if you had to describe how Alien Grace came together and what it is you guys do.
Alien Grace came together in a very interesting way because we all studied at the same music college. We all studied at BIM in Berlin. And I guess it started before most of us were involved. It started with Elias writing songs in his own super interesting style because he's got this flair for Eastern European traditional music. And he's from all over the place. He's from Scandinavia, he's lived in Rome, he's half Bolivian, so his musical and cultural heritage is very eclectic. So the songs he wrote, none of us had ever really heard anything like that. And we were playing a bunch of the songs by many of the artists at BIM. And for me at least, and for members of the band, Elias' songs just stood out. The first time we ever played together was just I was walking around the rehearsal studio underneath our school, and I bumped into my super close friend and now drummer of Alien Grace, Andreas, who was just like, "Oh, Dan, are you doing anything right now?" I'm in room, I think 4 it was. I'm in room 4 with Elias, and we are working on a song for his showcase, and we want a guitar player. And I was like, "Cool, when's the showcase?" And he's like, "Tomorrow morning." And I'm like, "All right, I guess let's go." So I walk into the room, and Elias is like, we hadn't hung out that much before. We met at a flea market, as you do in Berlin. It's the most German thing I've ever done. There was this guy painted gold, just like master of ceremonies for this flea market. And he was saying the same thing over and over.
That's very Berlin.
It was so, bro, I was so confused, but it was awesome. But yeah, so Elias, at first when you meet him, he might not be the most jovial and animated person, but then he just sat down and played the song, and I'm looking at the lead sheet. I'm like, okay, all right, time signature change, key change. All right, time signature change. Now we're in a Bulgarian wedding for a minute or two, and now we're back in this Queen-esque soaring chorus. And I was just like, all right, this is interesting as fuck. I've never done anything like this before. So we just locked in for the next few hours and somehow managed to get some kind of arrangement between the 3 of us. And they had already had a rehearsal with Victor. Victor and I were not close yet. Victor is now my flatmate and one of my best friends, very close friend of mine. And so, so the next day we rock up to the showcase. I've got the lead sheets because there's no way I'm going to remember all those changes off the top of my head. And we played together, we had a great time, and the rest, as they say, is history. We're still doing it to this day. That was about 6.5 years ago now.
So you've given us a bit of a background on Alien Grace and the early days, I guess, how you guys came together. You said about 6 years ago. But if you could speak about the musicians themselves, you got yourself on guitar, I believe it's Vic on the bass, you got Andreas on the drums, Elias on keys and lead vocals. But then you guys also have two, I wouldn't call them backup singers at all.
We just have three singers.
Yeah, you just have three singers with Embla and Brita. So
Yeah.
if we, I mean, you've given, I think, a good overview of Elias, but if you had to talk about the other band members, like what do they really bring if you had to go one by one?
So Andreas is a human clock. This man's sense of time is immaculate. And over the years, he's just developed this really unique voice on the drums. He's the kind of drummer that when he's sound checking and it's just him playing a fat groove, the whole room is just going, you know, like it's just, yeah, that's Andy. He just busts out these pockets and he'll just sit behind the kit and smash out the songs consistently and with this great energy. Also, like he's one of those people that doesn't speak all the time, but when he says something, it is listened to and it is always right on the money. Victor, on the other hand, is this like maelstrom of law and chaos.
I love Vic.
Yeah, man, that guy. But like the thing is, he is, so in many ways, he's extremely spontaneous, right? He does a lot of things like just from his intuition, but he also has this very strong sense of the standard of at which things need to be. So, and also his ear is very open to things that are strange. So it's not like he is stifling to the creative process. He just knows when it's it, you know? When like you've caught lightning in a bottle, he will acknowledge that. Even if you don't realize that one mistake that you might have made might have been cool as hell and then end up in the final recording. He's got that ear for selecting takes and just like capturing the energy of the band. And he does it in this very warm and welcoming and constructive way. Yeah, then we've got Embla Helgren, she's going to kill me for that pronunciation, from Sweden on vocals. Embla is this also like very musically eclectic person. She's super into like pop, but then she's also like a Guns N' Roses freak. So she's like this Axl Rose pop queen. Also, she's the fashionista of the band. She kind of
very clearly
helps us. Like, also, I mean, no discredit to Elias. That guy looks.
No,
immaculate.
Elias is one of the coolest looking people. Elias, if you're watching.
Yeah, then there's just me, Vic, and Andy, just in black.
Yeah,
headbanging.
Yeah.
Embla is our vocal technician. She helps us in many ways with the vocal, not just the arrangement, but the delivery and feeling comfortable and safe in the studio. She does a lot for that. And even on stage, her and I have a lot of moments together where we're improvising or playing melodies in unison or in harmony. And the lock is very strong with Embla musically. And then last, but definitely not least, we've got Brita Toft, all the way from Norway. Brita is in a way similar to Andreas in that she chimes in occasionally, but they're critical directions. They're critical bits of feedback for the process that enrich the final product and make it what it is, right? Vocally also insane. She's our middle harmony, right? I might be wrong about that, but very often the harmonies are felt more than they are heard, and if they are taken out, there is something sorely missed. And also shout out for the improvised solo on our upcoming single Hiding, which she tracked with me live, fully improvised at Blue Whale Studios with our guy Emilio on production.
Very cool.
Brita is also super into electronic music and an awesome DJ and producer. So, So these people have inspired me so much and are in a very big way responsible for my growth over the past 7 years since I moved to Berlin.
Yeah. So you guys have obviously been together as a band for quite a while now. You all know each other very well. One of the first things you told me of what you guys just like to put across is that you guys just are a really good group of friends. But then you mention all these kind of like intricacies everyone has. Like, I mean, just to speak about Vic, like he's just this larger than life giant Bulgarian 6'6" beast, which probably looking at him from afar, you wouldn't think he's got like any kind of like sensitivity in his body. But then he's this incredible bass player and even producer as well. And stuff like
he's
that.
also a giant teddy bear.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's also just one of the most lovable dudes I think I've ever. Like him and I just became soulmates.
Instantly, man. There's that moment is photographed where I'm just like,
yeah,
it's you two, my
Yeah.
two big friends.
Yeah, he's. And I mean, I'm by no means a small man, but he is a large.
He's a
man.
large man.
But to kind of come back to the point of this question is for people coming to the gigs, I'm not going to say how would you sell Alien Grace to them, but what can they really expect then when it comes to the music? Because as you said, you've got someone who you consider a vocal technician there, but Elias with all his influences. You've got someone who's huge into electronic music, you know? Like what can people expect?
So while musically and artistically we're from all over the place, Alien Grace has a very defined sound and feeling to it. If you want to know what you're going to expect, you're going to dance.
Yeah.
You're going to dance. It's got that Balkan groove. You're also going to listen to some pretty crushing prog rock riffs and some pretty teary ballads too. So yeah, it's pretty much all of the above. Our sets tend to take this, like, obviously we're going to play a different set every night at all of these shows, but our sets often take this journey from like party to making you feel something, because we also talk about things that we find important. Like, it's kind of impossible if you're a songwriter nowadays, it's impossible to not be political with the amount of things that are going on. So hopefully we'll make you think and we'll make you move.
Yeah, I can vouch for the making people move thing. The gig I came to, what was it, 2 years ago in Germany? Just a little charity gig in a public park, but then all of a sudden you guys start playing and it's just droves of people dancing and having a great time. And
That's
was,
really fun.
I think, one of the hottest days of my life.
I did not think Berlin could get that hot. But
No,
yeah, that was a really fun show. It's always cool when either Berlin is imported or exported by us to Malta, or Malta is imported to Berlin, because we shared the stage that day with Alexandra Alden and the New Victorians. So having Maltese artists like in Berlin, having this collision of worlds is always super fun and weird, surreal, but amazing.
Yeah. So obviously you guys are here for the purpose of this tour. I know you said you're going to possibly do some recording whilst you're down here, maybe some other stuff. Obviously show your bandmates the place where you grew up. But you guys have obviously played in other locations before. And I think probably your biggest one was playing for, sorry Andreas, I'm going to absolutely fuck the pronunciation of your surname and also your dad's name. But you opened for the, at least very famous in Lithuania, Andreas Mamontovas. So tell us a bit about that.
So Andreas Senior, getting to open for him was this amazing privilege, and sharing the stage with just like, every now and then you come across someone and it's just like, that's a pro. This guy knows his stuff. And just being able to just like watch that whole band, not just Andreas himself, slay and help us out with everything that we needed. There was this crazy storm just before, but like the clouds cleared. But that gig was awesome because it was in Klaipėda in Lithuania, on this man-made lake, where the audience were on the other side of the lake, this massive stage, audience on the other side of the lake, and where you would usually have like the standing area or mosh pit at the show, there were paddle boats. People were watching on paddle boats. So I'm just like playing on this stage, on this lake. And that was just like, this is why I do this, you know, one of those moments. It was magnificent, and we're super grateful for the opportunity always.
Yeah. So you obviously had that great experience performing, I guess, opening for Andreas Senior down there in Lithuania. And you said it was just like being like, this guy is a complete and utter professional. And I mean, that's not to undercut what you guys do. If you guys go on Spotify and look up Alien Grace, it all sounds incredibly professional. But I guess for people to get a bit of a taster for you guys before going into this. Is there anything in particular that people can look out for? Maybe stuff on the horizon?
Yeah, so besides the shows coming up, we've got an album coming out on the 5th of July, which is just like, we've been working on these songs, we've put everything into them, we've reconstructed them 100 times, and we're so happy that they are just like ready. They're going to be on wax, and they're coming out on 5th of July. We're remastering a bunch of old singles to make them pop. And we've also got a music video for our upcoming single, Hiding, which will come out in 2 weeks. And we had Andreas Sr. starring in that music video,
Very cool.
which was great. That was amazing. He killed it, and you'll be able to see that soon.
But you've obviously played now probably too many gigs that you can count with different bands, not just Alien Grace. You've played countless shows in Malta, a couple of them with myself as well, if we're going back to the years.
Man.
But you're here for your homecoming tour. You've got that camera right there. Tell people where they can find Alien Grace.
All right, so Alien Grace are playing at Babel this Friday, 28th June at 10 p.m. Come on down and dance with us. The next day, we're playing at Storeroom in Tashbish. That show starts at 9 p.m. Then the week after, we've got 97 Notes on the 5th of July. Show also starts at 9 p.m. And we are going to Gozo on Sunday the 7th to play at Zeppi's pub for a nice long set, also starting at 9 p.m. We would be honored to have you come dance with us.
Brilliant. Well, Dan, thank you for coming. It's always great seeing an old friend, and it's going to be great hanging out with you guys and coming to all the gigs. Everyone, thank you for watching. I do want to give a huge shout out to Blank Canvas Creatives. This is where we shot this video. They've really thrown us a bone with this one. It's an incredible setup for all the creative needs, so make sure if you have anything like that, please get in touch with them. And I hope you enjoyed this new format that I'm trying. It's been great having Dan here, as I already said. But until we do this again, thank you for watching.
Thank you so much, Joe. Thanks everyone for watching.
Terrible.